Had to be at least about the 4,000th time I've heard the national anthem. Probably the 2,000th I've heard the Canadian. And they both sounded good tonight. You did a great job. You know, I was very fortunate enough to play in Canada with Montreal for 2 years. And of course, I ended my career in Toronto. But first of all, I'd like to welcome all of you here today, players, parents, coaches, and friends. You know, it's an honor for me to stand here today at the Gene Bennett Classic. You know, I've been here every year except one, and I was unable to make that. But of course, Gene and I were very close all those years. The thing that amazed me about Gene is that he never would let me pay for a meal. But not only that, we enjoyed eating, which made it even better. But to have known Gene Bennett was a thrill. And I've often said this, I have an older grandson now who's a junior at Shawnee State. It's no doubt in my mind that if Gene Bennett was an active scout, he was a science guy. That's how much he thought of him. But the thing that I just want to emphasize to a lot of you here today, first of all, as players, baseball basically is a fairly easy game to play. And the reason why I say that is simply because the fact you're playing it. And if you couldn't play it, you shouldn't be out there. And if you can't play, I had to fault the coaches. I had to fault the parents for sending you out there. All of these things. But first of all, I just want to address the hitters. As a hitter, when you go to the plate, do not be guessing. The reason I'm not looking that way because the sun is right in my eye. I should have a sunglasses, but that's fine. But my mouth's still working. So that's the key. But the fact of the matter is, as a hitter, do not go to the plate guessing. The worst thing that I've seen over the last 4 or 5 years, in the major leagues, players who are taking the third called strike on a fastball. Now, I had to turn the channel to the Western Channel, the Long Ranger, shows like that, Perry Mason, shows like that. Because what I don't understand, how can someone take a third call strike on a fastball? Well, it's simple. They're guessing. They're guessing curveball, and why would you guess curveball if that's your weakness? Because if you do get it, you're not going to hit it anyway. I hope that makes sense. You give yourself fastball, and you can adjust to something slower. That's the only way I always thought that you should hit. Now, baseball has changed over the last 5 years. I've talked to several people, and they have gone to the launch. And I'm not going to knock that too much because some of the coaches here in this tournament might have gone to the launch. But just look at me and just see how it would look if you're launching. I'm left-handed. I'm on launch. I'm here. Now, the only pitch I'm going to hit is if they throw it inside. If they throw it out here, there's not a thing that you can do. Now, when I came up, I was very fortunate to have come up in an era where there were great players. Mays, Aaron, and Clemente. The reason why I named those three, because those were really the key three guys. One I played with, very fortunate to have played next to Roberto Clemente, and of course against Mays and Aaron. And all the great hitters back then used the whole field. That's why there were 300 hitters. I was watching ESPN just last night, and I started seeing guys hitting the ball to the opposite field. I said, wow, that's what I like to see. That's really the only way that you're going to be successful as a hitter is to use all fields. Because pitchers, let me tell you something now, hitters, pitchers are not dumb to our belief as a hitter. Sometimes we have to give the pitchers credit. The pitchers can tell if you are bailing on them, they're going to keep the ball away from you. Hitters, if you are hit with a pitch, do me a favor. Get up and go to first base. Now, if you see today when a hitter is hit, he looks out at the pitcher. Okay? I understand that to a degree. My theory has always been, and I said this even when I was in Little League, if I ever got hit, I was never going to charge the mound. Because, number one, I'm not going to go out there and break my hand on a pitcher's head whose record is 5-15. And I'm home watching him pitch on the game of the week, and here I am with a broken hand. I always said I was going to be the intimidator. It's nothing worse than a pitcher hitting you and you walk toward him. Now, let's face it, most baseball players can't fight. We like to sell what we call wolf tickets, and hopefully no one buys them. Now, I might have to break that down because this might be a cultural thing I'm talking about now. When I grew up, we would sell wolf tickets to each other. Well, I'm going to whip you, and oh no, you're not going to do that. Hoping that the other guy doesn't buy that ticket that you sold. That's what you call wolfing. And there was a lot of that in the major leagues in our clubhouses. That's why we were able to win a lot of games and divisional championships in Pittsburgh. But the fact of the matter is, you as a hitter, you can't let a pitcher intimidate you. If he knocks you down, get up and hit a line drive back past his head. See? That stops all of that. I know my first 2 years, they tested me. They knocked me down. They hit me. But I never charged them out, never looked at them. But one guy one day had the audacity. He threw me a fastball that came up about 75 miles an hour. Couldn't hurt a flea. So I hit the deck. He sent me to the canvas. And I'm down on the ground, and just instinct, you're looking out his way. And all of a sudden, I'm not going to call his name because he has passed on, out of respect. And I saw him. I wanted to laugh at him because what happened was the time before, I'm a left-handed hitter. He threw me a slider down the way, and I hit it inside the third base bag. Now, that was his best pitch, and I hit his best pitch. Next time up, he sent me to the canvas, got up, hit another line drive left center field. He left me alone the rest of his career. That's what we have to do as hitters. Sometimes, as pitchers, you have to throw inside. You have to keep the hitters honest. But I've talked to many pitchers during my time, whether it's the Nolan Ryans, Tom Seavers, Bob Gibsons. They're not necessarily teaching their pitchers these days how to throw inside. And that's why you see a lot of times hitters are being hit in the head, which I am totally against. I personally believe that if a pitcher throws and hits a guy on purpose in the head, he should be suspended for the rest of the year. That's just the way I feel, because you're dealing with somebody's life. And you just can't do that. In the day, what actually happened was they would hit you in the rear, in your side. The Bob Gibsons, what they would do would bruise your ribs and things of that nature, and it was part of the game, they said. But I asked these guys, I said, what are we supposed to do on an outside pitch? Are we supposed to allow you to throw strikes on the outside part of the plate? They said no. You can go out there if you want to, but the outside part of the plate belongs to us. Of course, I didn't buy that. I kept going into the ball the rest of my career. I got hit. That was fine. That's part of the game. And that's why I was successful, because I never allowed a pitcher to intimidate me. I was just telling someone a while ago that it's only one pitcher that I never had a chance to face that would have probably challenged me mentally and physically. And that would have been Randy Johnson. First of all, the guy's 8 foot tall. He's left-handed, I'm left-handed. It's no telling where he's gonna throw me. But my approach to a Randy Johnson is just this simple. I'm gonna look fastball, the first pitch. And if I get it, I'm not gonna miss it. Because I'm not gonna give this guy a chance to hit me in the neck. That is my approach to a tough lefty like Randy Johnson. He would have challenged me. But pitchers, pitch inside. Move that hitter's feet. Now, I never heard all these expressions when I played. If I'd have heard all those, instead of being a lifetime 303 hitter, I'd have probably been a lifetime 203 hitter. Because I might have been thinking. But I never went to the plate thinking about hitting. Because I always knew that I could hit. Anything that was in the strike zone, whether it's fastball, curveball, slider, knuckleball, change, whatever it might be, I was gonna put the ball in play. I didn't strike out a lot. Someone mentioned this to me maybe about 6-7 months ago. I averaged 40 strikeouts a year, and that was it. 39 of those I might have to get a pitcher credit this time. But sometimes you have to get a pitcher's credit. But I did have a tendency to chase balls out of the strike zone. But that's the way those of us that are here that are old enough to remember the Pirates of the early 70s. Thou shalt not pass. That was our philosophy as hitters, because we all had this confidence of being super hitters, in which we were. We had more confidence in each other, just like we had in ourselves. And that's why we were able to win. Except in the playoffs against your Cincinnati Reds. 1970, they beat us. 1972, we lost on a wild pitch. 1975, they beat us. People ask me, am I a Reds fan? I said, yes, I do follow the Reds. But the only thing about the Reds going to the World Series in those years, that they have not given the Pirates credit or given us an assist. And I'm trying to figure this out. We got them there. So give us a little credit. Don Gullen and I talk about this all the time, but it was great competition. Great players on both ends. And the thing about it is, we might have had 1 or 2 fights. One fight that we had was historical. Bruce Keeson, who was called home 2 weeks ago. He's been buried in Bradenton, Florida on Saturday. Bruce Keeson wasn't afraid to come inside. We knew that we were protected. Jack Billingham was pitching for the Reds. Retaliation was part of the game then. All of a sudden, both benches emptied. Now here's baseball players just standing around talking to one another. Nobody wants to fight. Again, baseball players can't fight. Okay. All of a sudden, a third string catcher accidentally steps on Sparky Anderson's foot. And if someone steps on your foot on some spikes, you're gonna hop or move. Now, it breaks out. It went on for about 15 minutes. If you can imagine 15 minutes of a baseball fight, somebody is about ready to check out of here. One of our coaches had Dan Dreesen, I never will forget, in a headlock. And Danny was about ready to check out of here until someone broke it up. And all of a sudden, when we were finished, Pedro Barbone, a relief pitcher, he bites one of our relief pitchers, Daryl Patterson. So we got to send him in the clubhouse to get a tetanus shot. But those are the things that happened back in the day. But I can tell you so many stories. Doc Ellis was supposed to have thrown a no-hitter on LSD. Now, I'm sorry, Doc was my best friend. But you know what? To pitch a no-hitter on LSD, you had to be great. But no, Doc wasn't on LSD. But Doc knew how to play the role with the writers. And to this day, people believe that Doc threw a no-hitter in San Diego on LSD. I knew he wasn't because I played first base that night. Normally I'm in center field, but I played first that night. But these are the things that happened back in the day. The looseness in the clubhouse. You as a team, all you guys should be able to get along well. It takes teamwork to win. One player cannot carry a team in baseball. He can be a very integral part of winning, but the bottom line is it takes a team. The one thing that I enjoyed about playing baseball in the major leagues, 18 years, I played on teams where I had guys around me that could hit. I remember 1972 was my first year that I became a 300 hitter. I had 312, the same as Roberto Clemente, which happened to have been his last year, 312. Who were they going to pitch to? Al Oliver or Roberto Clemente? I knew that I would get fastballs. And from then on, the rest is history, the rest of my career. I was a 300 hitter. But you got to have guys around you. If you fail, have confidence in the guy behind you that he will pick you up. Baseball is as easy as we want it to be. Parents, I know there's no parents here or family members here today that scream and holler at their kids. Am I right in saying that? Or are there any that screams and hollers at their kid? In a negative way, that is. The sun's in my eyes, so I can't see who's over here. So I'm assuming that there is no one over here who hollers at their kids. When the hollering goes on, usually is when they're at a young age. But the bottom line is, encourage your kids to do well. Even we as adults, we need to be encouraged. Build that self-esteem up. Hitters, believe when you go to the plate. In this tournament and throughout the rest of your baseball career. Go to home plate believing that you can hit that pitcher. You pitchers, when you take that mound, take the mound believing that you can get that hitter out. If these two things come into place, then what we have is competition. And this is what we want. The best against the best. Whoever wins, wins. There's no losers. If you've done the best that you can do, you can go home at night and get a good night's sleep. You guys have fun this weekend. Stay healthy. And last but not least, hustle. If you don't hustle, you might hear Gene Bennett coming back here. And we don't want Gene to come back because he's resting in peace today. So good luck to all the players. Thank the parents and all who have followed these kids out here today and throughout the weekend. Hopefully next year you'll be able to come back and repeat, because this is a great tournament named after a great human being, and I'm just glad that he is a friend of mine. I don't know if it's been said, Gene Bennett has a book over there at the table. That book is a treasure. When guys spend over 50-some years in scouting for the Reds, that book is on sale. I'm not going to plug my book, but it's over there. But if you get a chance, stop by the table. If you don't buy, that's fine. But I'd like conversation too. Anybody from Southern County and Southern Ohio, where hospitality begins. And I'm gonna let you go on this one, just to go show you how nice we are in Southern Ohio. In 1966, I single. I'm on first base. The first baseman said, Al, could you step off the bag so I can wipe the bag off? What do? I step off the bag and he tags me out. The most embarrassing thing that ever happened to me in my career. That's how nice we are here in Portsmouth and in Southern Ohio. God bless you all, and just glad that you're here. Enjoy yourself while you're in Southern Ohio. It's been a real. Thank you.